Language and culture. The study of language originates in the work of anthropologists who have used language as a source of information in the general study of culture. So, we have known about the cultures of the people in the past through their language. So, it was basically the work of anthropologists who studied culture through the language of the people. So, language and culture are two very closely related terms. We can define culture as shared belief, values, and behaviors of a social group, where social group can be a family at a micro level and a nation at a macro level. So, what actually culture does, it let us know the shared beliefs of the people of a community, people who are living together, their values, their behaviors of these group. So, this is all we know through language of the people of a certain community. So, the culture is known through the tool of language. Socially acquired knowledge. Culture can also be defined as socially acquired knowledge. Obviously, when we talk about society, language is always there. We can define or we can discuss about language as that language is used not just a tool for the exchange of information, but as a symbolic system with the power to create and shape symbolic realities, such as values, perceptions, identities through discourse. So it is language that plays the most important part in creating values, in creating symbolic realities in the society, and in creating perception about things and about people. So it's not a mere tool for communication. Actually, language has the basic rule of setting up the whole society, or bringing people to a certain ideas, certain realities. So language plays a very important role in this aspect. So language and culture are two sides of the same thing. Our first language is initially acquired without conscious awareness. So the way we learn language, especially the first language, is learned through unconscious awareness. We don't have any conscious awareness that this is what we are going to learn. And through language, we learn culture of a society we live in. We develop awareness of our knowledge and hence of our culture only after having developed language. So basically, first we learn language and then we learn culture, right? So this is the language that help us in knowing what culture we belong to. What are our values? What are our norms? What are the perception found in that culture? The particular language we learn through the process of cultural transmission provides us, at least initially, with a ready-made system of categorizing the world around us and our experience of it. So, with the help of words, we start learning a language, and through language, we start learning the culture. In the very initial stage, we know about the categories through learning language, but we may not be able to make a distinction between the categories. For example, with the words we acquire, we learn to recognize the types of categories, a category distinction that are relevant in our social words. So, with words, we learn about our culture, and we are able to make a distinction among different categories that we learn through language. For example, when a child start learning a vocabulary of his or her language, he or she may not be able to make a difference between a dog and a horse, but he or she learns it learns both the word, but with the passage of time, they start learning the distinction of the two objects or two animals. So very young children may not initially think of dog and horse, that they are two different categories. In native cultures of the Pacific, there were no horses, so no words for them. So in those culture in which there were no certain objects, objects or things, the people or the young people born in those cultures were unable to learn the words for those categories. For example, in Pacific culture, there were no horses, so there were no word in the language of these areas. We must have a conceptual system that includes these people, things, and ideas as distinct and identifiable categories. So our perceptual system help us in knowing the concepts which help us determining or distinguishing in different categories, that this thing is this and that thing is that. We are able to differentiate between the horse and the mule and the donkey, right, with the help of these categories later in life, through the conceptions that are given to us in a certain culture. Dog or horse, rain or snow, father or uncle, week or weekend. For example, if we take these categories, we learn these categories only when these concepts are there in the culture. If these concepts are not there in the culture, in a specific culture, the children born to that culture won't be able to learn these words. For example, let's take the word uncle. So in English, uncle is used both for the maternal uncle and the paternal uncle, but the word remains the same. However, in other cultures, the culture like ours, we have different words for maternal uncle and paternal uncle. So this is because of the concept that are found in our society, in our culture. The relation of culture and language is the way they share human values, realities, and behaviors of a social group. So the relation is very strong because they share values. The culture is embodiment of values, realities, and behaviors of a group of people, and this is learned through language. So they are very closely related to each other. According to Kramsch, language expresses, embodies, and symbolizes cultural realities. So according to Kramsch, it is actually the language that help us know the culture, what is the shared belief found in the culture, what are the values found in the culture, what are the identities, concept. So we actually know our culture with the help of our language that we learn in a culture, in a society, living with people.